morning. I think we need to do 100% for the rest of the year. This is awesome. Room full of Rotarians. Doesn't get any better than this. One thing John Nossick reminded me, I don't always keep up with the news, but he told me one of the people killed at the Navy Yard was a past president of a Rotary Club. Which is very important here. So remember that in our thoughts and prayers. And Dorothy Downey will do our invitation.
Let's pray. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and the whole service was joy. Heavenly Father, teach us that even if we can't do great things, we can at least do small things in a great way. May we always be sincere in our efforts to help others in need. Now bless this food to our use and us to thy service. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And my Rotary moment is going to a national conference.
I didn't hear it.
My Rotary moment was going to an international conference in Barcelona when Vijay Radhakrishnan was the incoming president.
Oh, wow.
The president-elect. Most amazing. If you ever get a chance to go to one of those things, the good that Rotary does around the world is showcased there. And it was amazing. Amazing.
I got an email yesterday from Cook and Billings with a whole flyer. It's in Australia next June. I'll circulate that. I need to pass that on to the club, and I think some of our other members have been to the international conference over the years. And it is incredible. Sergeant at Arms, John Nossick.
Okay, we have two visiting Rotarians today, Deborah Friedman from Summit. And George Arnold from Crescent. We have four guests today. Ben Bracken, guest of Bobby Christensen.
Bennett, I need to make a presentation to you. The last time you came to my house, you left this pair of shorts. I don't know what you wore home.
I was thinking to get me invited back, but it didn't work out.
He brought his grandson over to go swimming, so I assume he wore his bathing suit.
We have Dale Hopkins, guest of Mike Conrad.
Yeah, let me introduce Dale. Dale is with Hoffman & Hoffman, which is Rusty's firm. He has been there for over 25 years and has an interest in Rotary. He's a graduate of NC State. Is that right? That's correct. So please welcome Dale.
And Chris Justice has two guests, Erica Parker and Rebecca Byerly.
All right, guys, this is Erica Parker. She calls Greensboro home. Spent quite a bit of time away. Went to Atlanta with her family for what, 10 years?
14.
14 years, okay. And then headed to the wilds of West Virginia for a short amount of time before coming back here. But she's with PNC Bank running the small business division over there. She's actually a former Rotary member. During her time in West Virginia, she was with the Rotary, so she's looking for a Rotary home. Stand up, lovely lady. This is Rebecca Byerly. She is no stranger to Rotary. She's a reporter, so I'm going to let her do the talking.
Well, my relationship with Rotary started in this room, 13 years ago, when I was a senior in high school. And I did a drug and alcohol awareness scholarship, so I spoke at this Rotary Club, and then at the district conference. And then went on to American University in Washington, D.C., got a degree in peace and conflict resolution with a focus in the Middle East and North Africa. And after I graduated, was a Rotary Ambassadorial Scholar to India, where I have been living for the last 5 years. working as a journalist with the New York Times and the National Geographic. So I really owe Rotary a lot. I am so grateful. It's great to be here. I think this is the second day I've been in this city in over a year. So know that I love you enough to get up. But I look forward to seeing you more in the next couple of months.
We're done. All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Great to see you. Fundraiser, Emily.
All right, so you'll see all of you got your own, I can autograph it if you want, a copy of the sponsor brochure. There's also, the posters on the tables as well. Next week, we will have the ticket packages to hand out. And we'll get fully ramped up, but you can again be talking to people about sponsorships. You can put up posters, start generating some interest and demand. If you look inside the sponsorship brochure and you see the Friends of Gate City Rotary packages, those are what essentially outside of the sponsorships, that's what we're going to be selling. So they're again $100 packages. Includes the concert ticket, and they are essentially sold out, and all of our tickets are on the first level. So, we've got good stuff compared to what they're trying to sell out there. Admission to the barbecue and beer tailgate with, food and the 2 beers and a raffle ticket. And then, essentially, I guess about $30 of that is a donation to the club. And so, as in previous years, the commitment is $300, so ideally selling 3 of the $100 packages. So since we do have the raffle, if you prefer to sell $300 in raffle tickets, that's fine. If you prefer to just give a straight $300 donation, that's fine. But essentially, your commitment is the $300. And again, we'll pass those out next week and spend a little more time talking through that. But any questions that people have? Yes.
If we're already sponsors, but we find that we need more tickets for clients or friends or whatever, we're doing the $100 packages, is that to expand that? Is that what it is?
Well, so I have a number of tickets reserved for sponsors, and so there may be the opportunity to get kind of the concert ticket and the, the tailgate ticket kind of at cost. Okay. Talk to me about that if you need more tickets. So see on the back, we do have kind of who our sponsors are to date. We have some additional commitments from club members, so thank you very much. So we are going to do a second printing that will have, the updated and full sponsorship list. So any other questions?
How many tickets do we have?
We have 400 tickets.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Emily. Ashley, do you want to talk about kids voting?
I just want to do sort of a save the date announcement for kids voting. Kids voting is going to be Monday, November the 4th. I'll probably try and just get out an email this week with the time slots, but several of you have been pretty good about doing kids voting in the past. It's fun. It's just 2-hour shifts. The kids are great. It moves fast. You're usually there with 2 or 3 fellow Rotarians kind of hanging out when the kids aren't there. So it's a really easy way to get in some service and great for the kids as well. So I'll send that out. That's the date is Monday, November 4th. And it sounds like we are going to be out at Irwin again, which is out, I believe it's out Bessemer. Yeah, Bessemer. So we'll be out that way again. I'll send out an email this week if people can just respond if you want to sign up.
All right, thank you. Danny, Big Sweet.
Yeah. Well, we're on for 9 o'clock at Steelman Park. There'll be forms there. If you just come, wear your mud shoes. We'll be out in the creek. Bring some, wear your jeans, whatever. Be prepared to get dirty. It may rain. Let's pray that it doesn't. Big Sweep is going to be quick and easy. I've already scouted it. It's not a huge mess. I think it's going to be a lot easier than last year. Anyway, also wanted to mention Project Rebuild. I checked out on the site the house that we're going to do. It doesn't look too difficult, but we do need a lot of people signed up to do that. I'll check in with you next week. I'll be out of town, but right before the Project Rebuild first weekend, I'll be back. Okay.
All right. Football pool, Walt.
Thanks for remembering me, Bob.
Yeah, got a watch.
Forms are on the table. We need prizes.
And speaking of that, you guys may have noticed that most of the NFL stadiums around there anymore aren't, giving away their naming or sold their naming rights. I'd like to introduce the possibly Rob Midget Bar. Rob, we're very crafty last week. Picked all the visitors in college and all the home teams and pros. And still did not get the 0. But I'm glad to see all the excitement about the football pool. Steve Brandon chased me out to my car in the parking lot. I'd pulled out, and he came running out there with his pool. And Steve,
What did I say?
Tell you,
Yes. And let me even say, not only did I chase him out there, but I went as bold as to say the 49ers were going to kill Seattle.
Yeah.
So if you saw the game Saturday, I had my tail tucked all the way up and was holding on to it up here. Yeah. Bad week for football. Sorry.
Just go to show you
Tough.
enthusiasm does not always.
Yeah, that's true. I will enjoy this later, though. Thank you.
Yeah. So if anybody would like to, or the club, as a matter of fact, would like to purchase a box of 0 bars, those puppies are up to $2 a bar now. A lot of times more valuable than the prize.
Or I'll sell mine for $1.75. $1.75. Anybody?
Yeah, plus tax, buddy. $1.91.
Oh, okay.
If anybody would like to donate a prize, anything, we'd be glad to get it. Believe me, we can combine prizes if they're small. Let's see, this week, usual suspects, as far as honorable mentions, Mike Allen, James Pegram, Dill, did very well. All got 13. That's a good showing. Conrad came in with 13. Let's see, we already talked about, sorry, buddy. But Guy Rabondo, you Guy? Yeah. Second place, 14. The big winner this week, if this guy can pick stocks like he picks football, you should give him. Thank you. Of course, you're looking sharp as always.
Thank you all.
Fill them out.
One couple of notes here. We've got 2 leaves of absence in the club. Wanted to let you know about. Of course, Max Kern, who is here with us today, but he moves to the beach in October and comes back in March. So the same as last year, the board has granted him a leave of absence and save us a place down there at the beach. And Zen, I called Zen last week, of course, with this 100% attendance initiative, and I got Zen on the phone, and typical Zen, she was all over the place. But she's got a million things going on, as we know, and raising a child, and she's taking some classes, and she's just got so much going on, and she asked that she have a leave of absence. And we discussed that at our board meeting on Tuesday, so we've granted Zen a 3-month leave of absence. So anyhow, just wanted to let you know that bit of news. Hope to see her back soon. What's next? Birthdays, anniversaries. Kevin.
Sure. We've got for the birthday on the 18th was Ralph Jones. And then for anniversaries is Joel and Rebecca Kazimierz. So there we go.
And I have birthday number 16.
I had one on 7. Tried to skip it. Thank you, Kevin. Buster, happy dollars.
All right. Rebecca, you probably don't remember me and the grilling you. All the old guys that were interviewing for your scholarship, and I remember you. Very impressive.
But not because you're an old guy.
Yeah. Well, I was much younger.
Give a dollar himself.
Yeah. Bounced around all that.
Airport's event is tonight, the Rockin' Rotary at the Blind Tiger. I have 4 extra tickets. I think they're like $60 a piece, so first come, first served. If they want some, just come see me.
Actually, I had a lot more hair back then. Bonnie?
Last Thursday, I missed the meeting. I had to be in Martinsville early. On my way home, I got a call from my daughter saying she was in a car accident. And I was just 5 miles away from home, so she said I had to pick her up, so I knew the car wasn't drivable. She was fine. I get there, and I turn the corner, I see Bobby standing there. I thought, oh God, she hit Bobby. She actually hit Bobby's son. Her car's totaled, and we think your son's car's totaled too.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much to total here.
Yeah. But fortunately,
Was it that little accident?
Yeah.
That's the way that Bobby's son works for me. What was he driving?
I'm standing there in the ditch and I see Bonnie coming over and I think, she lives out this way. Isn't that nice? Bonnie must have seen me on the side of the road. Good Rotarian's going to stop and see if she can help. Lo and behold, it's her daughter. Her daughter was very nice.
Bobby, Mark suggested that could be a makeup.
Maybe y'all could set up your kids with each other. Get married.
Easy, Tiger.
Well, I missed last week's meeting as well, and I made up the day before at the Greensboro Club, which of course was September 11th, and it was a fascinating program. Sitting here staring at that flag maybe reminded me. The program was David Griffin, a Greensboro resident here who many of you know, runs D.H. Griffin, his father's company, and he was the contracting supervisor for the cleanup efforts at the Ground Zero site in New York City following September 11, 2001, and he gave a very moving program. And what I didn't know, and maybe some of you do remember, is that what got him into it is that he and his young family, the day after on September 12th, just drove up to New York City. And he took his hard hat with him, and maybe some of you have even heard him tell this story, that he just sort of made his way through the various security gates until he found somebody to ask as to how to get involved, and things started happening, and he was in the right place to answer some questions about some demolition projects, and people turned their heads at him and said, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. It was a very moving program, but also very earnest and a reminder of opportunities for us to serve and the Rotary opportunity of service above self. And for those of us that remember those times and how that affected us locally here, our club did a number of things at the time. And one of the things we were able to do that was done for us was we were able to obtain our flag that hangs over us each week from a flyover of Capitol from Congressman Coble during those times when there was a real run on flags, as you know, too. So I always think of that every September 11th as it relates to this club. So a happy dollar for opportunities for service.
My first happy dollar is for my son Wilder. It's been 4 weeks, 6 days, and about 12 hours since he hit anybody with a car. I'm sure that'll change by next week. Another one is last Sunday, the Hunka Hunka Burning Rub pork cooking team was endowed with a beef brisket from Dale. Where's Dale? I want to thank Dale. There she is. There she's coming back to me. Anyway, we had a wonderful cook-off. We cooked for the rent-a-home crowd, and we had a vote, and we thought we had a winner, but it was contested as to which pork we would cook for the November 2nd pig stock cook-off. And so we're going to have a rematch, but we need guinea pigs. The rent-a-home people probably come back, but we need guinea pigs for the next one. Guinea pigs. Judges. We need judges. I'm sorry, we need judges. So there's a the date will be announced sometime early in October, I believe. So
early, Chip's live, but we want an opportunity to try again.
I make a good target.
Kind of lost my appetite there. Thanks, Chip.
Want to thank all of you for all the birthday well wishes. I was overrun with wishes and it was great. Appreciate that. And number two, I spent the weekend in Baltimore with my daughter and two grandchildren, 3.5-year-old crazy little boy and a 4-month-old little girl. What an amazing thing. Marley can attest to the 4-month-old little girl. Marley's ever going to wait.
That's a good line.
I missed last week's meeting too, but the Saturday before I was up in Chicago at the Naval Recruit Center where my son Adam graduated after being up there for 12 weeks, and he's heading to Charleston, South Carolina to their nuclear power school so he can run reactors on flat tops.
Oh, wow. Dr. Tom, we have, here you go. We have our Brunswick stew coming up on October the 4th and 5th, food prep the 4th, we'll be cooking the 5th. This is money that's for Youth for Christ for the kids we get sent to camp, $8 a quart. It's high quality food. If you don't like the cooking, blame me. But anyhow, I can't cut wood and rebuild it good too, but anyhow, it all happens one time. You say you're cooking on the 4th and drinking a 5th?
I don't
Last Saturday, I had the special joy of walking my daughter down the aisle. She got married. A lot of fun. She is in the Caribbean, relaxing. I went back to work on it.
Pay for it.
I've actually got two. I had the opportunity last Saturday night to work with Patriot Rovers, a group that we sponsored, and they had their fundraising, and it was a great event, great turnout, and it was wonderful to see the work that they were doing and the impact. And also just kind of a heads up, because I know I'll be paying in the future, is next week my wife will be on TV. She'll be on September 21st on Fox News doing a bake show, so I know I'll be paying up on that. So always paying.
You don't get by him.
Well, Grandpappy always said, pain falls upon one's head like tiny drops of water, resulting either in wisdom or a very wet head.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
Let me embarrass you. One of the easy parts of this job is handing out money.
Embarrassing?
Yeah, it's hard to embarrass you, I know. Every time I've tried, I've ended up on a committee. But on behalf of the club and our past fundraising events, there's a check in there for $500 to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, which we know you and Marley there do so much great work for, and just want to say thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you. It goes a long way. Just some great news. We've got a human trial starting at UVA in January with 300 plus involved in it. It's artificial pancreas taken to the next level. It's really a pancreas outside of the body, and it's amazing the technology here and the fact that if you've got a child with type 1 diabetes and you're away from home, you can dial in with your smartphone and find out what his blood sugar level is. So you can really kind of monitor, and it's just it's a better treatment. It's not a cure, but it's certainly better treatment. So this is what these dollars go to. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Turn it over to Emily for our speaker.
All right, so I'm pleased to introduce this morning Wanda Clark, who's the Director of University Relations at Laurel University. And so in July 2010, Wanda moved to High Point to become Laurel University's Director of University Relations. This newly created position reflected the institution's commitment to engaging its community and better tell its story. And so among the many, many things you have on your table, you have information about Laurel. As early as the 5th grade, she exposed herself to the public speaking fear monster by purposefully participating in spelling bees, speaking competitions, and public activities. She has honed her communication skills in a variety of business and nonprofit arenas in Maine, multicultural Miami, and Brazil. As a young adult, her 15-plus years spent in Brazil resulted in an almost native fluency in Portuguese. During that time, she taught English as a second language, which enhanced her emotional intelligence skills and sharpened her ability to transform complex concepts into easy-to-understand language. Ms. Clark considers her greatest achievement a happy, resilient heart and a sharp, inquisitive mind, second only to the loving relationship she enjoys with her 3 children, 2 in-law, or is that outlaw? We all know the difference between in-law and outlaw, right? In-laws are, outlaws are wanted. Children and 2 grandchildren. A lifelong learner who believes that developing oneself honors one's creator, Wanda enjoys using her God-given strengths of ideation, empathy, connection, and strategic thinking to promote engagement and build bridges through communication. She's a member of the High Point Rotary Club, and she's here today to talk to us about ethics in Rotary.
Well, thank you very much for having me here. I apologize for adding to the piles of paper that are already on your table. And the focus today, although I come from Laurel University, my focus today is about Rotary ethics. We're going to take a little trip in this little conversation that we have with each other to a few places, even a couple of different times. I'm not supposed to be walking around too much. Okay? Before I start, just let me tell you how much I appreciate this opportunity to meet every one of you and see what a happy, dynamic group this is. 7? Is it 7 in the morning? You're a great group. I did come to High Point from Miami in July of 2010. At that point, the school was called John Wesley College. It's in High Point. We have since rebranded with a new name and upped our status to university status. At that time, the school had never had anyone in public relations or in marketing. And can everyone hear me? Can you hear me back there? Okay. So it was an interesting position to create for myself, to develop. In one of my first meetings at the school, a faculty member who has since become a great friend, a great working relationship, didn't stand, but in public said out loud something about what public relations was all about. And he said, okay, we're going to get this on. He said, Rotary, public relations is puffery. Puffery. So I had to look up puffery, and I was amazed to find out what he was really saying. He was really expressing the fact that they were afraid. If he represented anybody else at the school, they were afraid that we were going to go into an era where superlatives and loud talking and exaggeration and just too much was going to be said. And this was a Christian Bible college, and they were very concerned about that. Well, it took me aback a little bit. You know, if you're heading a meeting and it's your first public meeting at the place and somebody stands up and says puffery about what you do, it's like, whoa, what am I going to do about that? And he doesn't mind that I tell this story because you'll see why. It took me aback a bit, and I went back into my office and started thinking about what I could do about that. And I'm very thankful to tell you that my contact with Rotary helped me work through this ethical dilemma. It was a dilemma for me. How was I going to be at this new position, creating this entire office of university relations, already facing some inner challenges and concerns about how we were going to broach and approach the subject of advertising and public relations as we talked about the school. So we're going to take a few trips, to different places. So we came from Miami to High Point. Now we're going to go back to Miami. Before I came to High Point, one of the jobs that I had was a club administrator for the Rotary Club of Miami. So at the time I started, it was about 200 members. So it was a big club, and it was a dynamic club. We have our own foundation, we do medical scholarships, all kinds of things. And I had learned all things Rotarian through there. So I had a little bit of a background through which I could filter this dilemma that I'm facing and thinking, what am I going to do? So I want to tell you now, we're going to go way from Miami over into Chicago. And we're going to leave present time and go back into the 1940s, in the middle of the Great Depression. There was a man who had been a successful businessman, I think about 3 or 4 different ventures that he had gone through, he had taken care of. He had always just been successful. It didn't matter whether it was in this arena or that sector, he was a successful businessman. And he was approached by somebody, by a company that was going into bankruptcy, middle of the Great Depression, into bankruptcy, and asked if he would come on board and pull the company out. Herbert Taylor was a Rotarian, interestingly enough. He took on the challenge and he went to this company and he did a little bit of inner research before he started really deciding what his vision was going to be for the company. And as he did that, he came across a problem that he thought was the hugest problem in the company. Not their accounts payable or their accounts receivable or anything of that nature. He went home and he started drafting a statement of standard or of ethics for the company. What he perceived was the need that needed at that company was they did not know who they were and how they did business. The first draft was 500 words long. Well, you can't present that to people. So he kept on working on it, sent a draft over to a lawyer friend of his in the middle of the Great Depression, said, listen, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about using this as a standard for business, and we're going to pull our company out of bankruptcy. And the lawyer friend said to him, you're going to go hungry. This is not how, you can't do business and be ethical at the same time. Didn't matter. Herbert Taylor did not pay any attention. He honed it, crafted it down, he tightened it up, he sliced off words, and he got it down to a very short set of statements. And he took those statements to 4 of his friends. One was a Roman Catholic, one was Jewish, one was Christian Scientist, and one was Presbyterian. And he said, look at this statement. Does this statement support your faith? Does it support your value system? Does it give us, would it help you in business? Is it enough? Does it offend you in any way? And the report from all 4 of them was, good job, it works. It works for us. So he took the 4-way test and implemented in a company that he was pulling out of bankruptcy. The first department, however, that he took it and applied those ethical statements was advertising. He went to the advertising crew and he said, okay, enough of this. We are now going to say,
is the truth, as they are all concerned, will build goodwill and better friendships, will be beneficial to all concerned.
Advertising. And that's one thing that really, really helped me in the ethical dilemma that I was facing. I had someone who might be representative of a larger group that was really concerned about what we were going to do ethically in the public relations and advertising efforts that we were promoting. So Herbert Taylor took the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do and applied it to a company that was called at that point Club Aluminum. Nobody else is older than me here, so you probably don't remember it. Do you remember the sets of aluminum that were thick? They were really good aluminum, and they were probably, you remember them in the avocado 70s colors. Do you remember? There were entire sets. They were thick. They lasted forever. That was Club Aluminum. He not only pulled the company out of bankruptcy, the company kept on going for about 30 more years. It was bought out by another company. It never went back into bankruptcy. So his attempt at creating an ethical statement was very, very effective for that company. Well, him being a Rotarian, Herbert being a Rotarian, his code of ethics started becoming known in the Chicago area. Of course, we know that that's kind of the birthplace of Rotary anyway, at least it's the central place. And clubs started saying, well, that's such a good statement. We're going to use that. And RI, Rotary International, adopted it as the official Rotary statement of ethics. The things, the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Like Rebecca, I had experience with Rotary in another country. For about 15 years, I taught English as a second language in Brazil. And actually before that, except for maybe a high school choral presentation at a Rotary group, I really had not had experience with Rotary. It was in Brazil that I learned about Rotary. It was in Brazil that I became impressed about Rotary. In Brazil, there are huge polio campaigns. And they're government-sponsored. They're public, very large public campaigns. My private pediatrician suggested that instead of getting the polio vaccine at the private clinics, that I do it in the public campaigns because she said it was better and more recent vaccination material so that my children would get a better deal than. So I always participated in the public vaccination campaigns. Every single one of them, big Rotary wheel. It was impressive. It was impressive. And I got to know in Brazil some Rotarians and also was very impressed by their ethical standards, by their attention and dedication to service, and we all know about that. So one of the things that I find fascinating about the four-way test, maybe because I speak another language, but because we're world citizens, sometimes we probably don't stop to think that people all over the world are saying the same thing that we're saying in their own language. And so this is the four-way test in Portuguese. And does somebody want to read it with me? No? Okay, I'll read it alone, if that's the way you're going to be. Do que nós pensamos, dizemos ou fazemos. Primeiro, é a verdade. Segundo, é justo para todos os interessados. Terceiro, criará boa vontade e melhores amizades. Quarto, será benéfico para todos os interessados. Your Brazilian counterparts, Rotarians, say that at the beginning of their meetings. Could be happening right now, at noontime, in the evening. We don't know. But isn't that kind of amazing? In India, they're doing the same. In Uganda, in Kenya, I have a friend that moved to Kenya, and they have a Rotary Club. That's pretty amazing that worldwide we have an ethical statement that helps all of our members understand how to proceed in life, something that supports no matter what their faith is. So back to now we're going to go from Chicago in the 1940s back to High Point in 2011, 10-11. So I thought through this issue and I thought I can fix this. So the commitment that we made in our office, three-pronged commitment, any advertising material, any promotional material was, number one, no superlatives. We were not going to be using any kind of excess whatsoever. Statements of fact. Statements of fact that would be verified. Anything that is in those materials that you've got someone else has been verified. Whatever department is in charge of those numbers, they have said, yes, that's okay, Wanda. It's checked off. And then the content reviewed. Because a single perspective sometimes is just that. So I could have a perspective and it needs to be adjusted or understood in a very balanced way. And those were the three components that I placed as the Director of University Relations at Laurel University, basically because I was challenged with an ethical dilemma. And Rotary ethics, the statement of the four-way test, really, really helped. And that's the story. Today, by the way, is a meeting that counts towards your Gold Club status because it's about Rotary ethics. So it gives you another check-off point, I think I told the lobby. And that's about all I have to say about the ethics portion. Did we do an okay job flying around to different parts of the world in different times? Did you get the connection? Good. Any questions? I can answer questions about Laurel. The point isn't here about Laurel, but if you have any questions about High Point's other university, I'll be glad to talk. Yes, sir.
In your bio, you mentioned something about Maine.
Yes.
What was that, what was your stint in Maine about? If it's too embarrassing.
It's starting to sound like prison.
It's not embarrassing, it's just quite an interesting story. My parents were missionaries in Brazil when I was born, but they left when I was I was 6 years old, and we lived in rural Maine, northern Maine, for 10 years. Yeah, you're from Maine.
No, I was there last week.
Nice, Bahaba. So I was telling Emily that, right, Emily? I was telling Emily that I went to, you can touch me afterwards, I went to a one-room schoolhouse in rural Maine. I did. One teacher, 4 grades, approximately 18 to 20 students. So I lived, I had a great upbringing, stoic, straight-talking, hard-working Mainers. Yeah, so that's the connection with Maine. And then my parents went back to Brazil. And so Brazil and Maine factored in my life. Any other questions that I may answer?
What's your relationship with this guy now at the university?
Oh, it's been great. The first year the first bit, I kind of skirted around him and made sure that it was clear and obvious the structure that we had put in place. And probably about a year, I came to him, found out he had a great sense of humor. He's a great guy. And said, you know, I really want to thank you. And I told him the story that I had experienced from the speaking. And we had a great laugh over it. He's great. We're straight talkers to each other. There's never been any other issue like that since then. I really appreciated it. Sometimes when people throw down that gauntlet, it can feel a little intimidating, but sometimes that's the opportunity for you to either redefine or strengthen the definition that you have of what you're going to be doing. So that's what I did. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wanda. And in your honor, we're donating a book to Cone Elementary School, One Starry Night.
Thank you.
It's inscribed with this day and this club. And that's an interesting story.
Thank you so much.
The one-room schoolhouse is interesting, too. I've got a good friend that's a school teacher who used to be an attorney. He traded that, but anyway, his theory is we need to go back to the one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah, there's probably not too many of us left.
If you would, please draw our raffle ticket. Don't forget the card fund on your table. You can read the last 3 digits.
Five, 7, 6.
Tony!